Jack and Ryan here, coming at you with another podcast again. Today we compiled 7 tips going over vascularity. So yeah, just kicking it off here. First tip we have is carbs. You just want to touch base a little bit on carbs?
Yeah, I get a lot of DMs and questions from people asking how to be vascular. And one of the things I ask them is what their carb intake is, because carb manipulation is one of the big things that can help with bringing out your veins. That and sodium can help a lot. So I would say you gotta have like some high carb days, start draining it or pulling in water. And then after doing that for probably like 2-3 days, do like a moderate to low carb day. So then your body just drops that water. And obviously stay hydrated, because then you'll just keep pushing and pushing that water through your blood. That helps a lot with, especially for contest prep. Right before we go on stage, well, let me start with the week, the peak week. Peak week, if you don't know, is the week of leading up to a bodybuilding show. During that week, most people start with high carbs, and every day they drop it by a certain amount. Like my last show, I dropped about 50 to 100 grams of carbs each day. And then on the night before my show, I had a high carb day. I had 12 ounces of chicken separated into 3 meals. Each meal I had a potato with it because of the carbs that are in the potato. Around 5 or 6 o'clock, I went to Wendy's, got a burger there because of that high sodium. When you have a lower carb like that, all that sodium is going to drain all of that water out of your body. So when you drop carbs and drop sodium from a high amount to a low amount in a pretty quick time frame, your body's just going to start pushing all that water through, and it'll just start making your veins pop out a lot more. So that's really the best way to do it for carbs. Just start high, gradually just cut it down. If you want to be able to maintain a pretty good vascularity, because maintaining a show prep, like a bodybuilder vascularity, is pretty hard to do like all day long, like year round. But if you want to be just naturally more vascular, you definitely need to work on getting your muscle size up, get bigger, stay lean. Don't do like a hard bulk, because then you'll put a lot more body fat on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So carbs is definitely a huge thing. Me personally, I obviously don't have any experience in competing in shows or whatever, but I'm pretty familiar with it. So you obviously, like, right before you go on stage, you need to carb up, just because your body is so depleted, and carbs is one of the best ways to increase your vascularity. And also with just before working out, I can tell a huge difference whether my carbs are really high or my carbs are really low. Just strength in general, and just overall powerfulness in the gym.
Explosiveness.
Yeah, explosiveness in the gym. If my carbs are really high, I'm gonna feel really strong in the gym that day, and vice versa. If the carbs are really low, weights are gonna feel a little bit more heavy. CNS might not be primed as well.
Yeah, back to what you said about the pre-workout carbs. A good way to do that, you can supplement it too with like carb iron, or like that demo day, it's just straight carbohydrates. Mm-hmm. But if you want it to come from foods, what we do during like stage prep, like backstage, like half an hour to an hour before we step on, everyone's eating rice cakes with peanut butter covered in honey, because the rice cakes are going to be your carbs. The protein is going to be a good mix between carbs, a little bit of fats, and some sugars, and then you just drench that thing with honey, and that's just pure sugar and carbs. So when you have that low body fat and that your water is really low because you're about to step on stage, all that sugar and carbs is going to draw whatever water's in your body out. So when you step on stage, everything's just popping out, and you look pretty damn good. The only thing that sucks though is you kind of feel like shit. When you drop carbs and all that, like, you need carbs. Carbs are used to transport, like, as glycogen, and that's your body's main source of energy. So if you have low carbs, you're just gonna feel really tired all the time. Which is something I also tell people, when you have that low body fat, like under 5, 6, 7%, you're gonna be dragging ass all day. just because your body doesn't have the fats to function really.
We even did this today. We ate rice cakes and peanut butter, carbs and fats right before, and had a pretty good leg day. So yeah, talking about fats and carbs, that kind of just leads us into our next point here. We have types of food, and some things you want to be looking for in types of food is going to be foods with high potassium, high sodium, and just your generic pre-workouts, and green tea is also great. So like for our first point here, high potassium, obviously, a great source would be bananas.
Most fruits help bring out vascularity a lot because they'll have natural sugars to them. And sugar is really good for drawing out water. A great way to pull out vascularity is the sodium manipulation, like I was talking about before. That's definitely one. If you have like a high sodium day, and you just start at a certain amount and just cut every so often, and then say like 2-3 days in a row you did a higher sodium, and then that next day you do a low sodium and cut a lot of sodium out of your diet, your body's going to pull a lot of water because of the sodium that you're taking in.
And just like in the gym, you'll feel a lot more full in the gym. This is why, even sometimes to this day, me and Jack will literally just take like a spoonful of salt right before we go to the gym. Just just look full and just like feel like a rhinoceros in the gym.
Oh yeah.
So
that's another thing we should talk about is tricks in the gym to pull out vascularity. And one thing I like to use are BFR bands or blood flow restriction.
Yeah.
And those are the bands. If you follow me on Instagram at trainer_Jack_, you put the bands around like your arm right here, and it just squeezes right there. So it lets enough blood get into your muscle, but keeps too much blood from coming out of the muscle. So that way you have all this blood pooling in your arm, and that's gonna start popping everything out. The main reason why I and some other like bodybuilders and just more advanced lifters use them is because it helps jam in more blood flow. And the whole point of it really is to trick your brain into thinking that muscle is so full of blood that it needs to grow. So it's really, BFR bands aren't just for chasing a pump. They're great for a pump. You can put them on and literally just do curls with nothing and you're gonna get a pump. The whole point is tricking your brain to think like, oh, all this water and blood flow is stuck in the muscle, and then your brain decides, I need more room to fit more water and blood. So it just starts expanding your muscle fibers. And that's really the idea behind it. Not everyone really agrees with it, but I've tried it, and I've noticed my arms have gotten a little bit bigger since I've done that. I've also put them on my calves because I have tiny calves, I know. But they actually do help a lot. My definition and vascularity in my calves have gotten a lot better. Still gotta work on the size part. And that can kind of lead us into supplements that you could take.
for supplements, pre-workout, you basically have two different kinds of pre-workouts. You either have a pre-workout that's going to be really high in stim, or a pre-workout that's going to be really high in your pump ingredients. And for the pump ingredients, that's definitely going to help with your vascularity. So just looking right here, for vascular, you want to look for L-citrulline. The recommended daily dose that you want to get of that is 6,000 milligrams.
Let me interrupt you for just a second. Citrulline, you want to take about 6 to 8 grams, which is 6,000 milligrams, about 30 to 40 minutes before a workout to give your body time to push it through your bloodstream. Also, about citrulline, citrulline is an amino acid that its main job is to keep blood flow pumping. That's the whole point of citrulline. So when you combine citrulline with the sodium nitrate, the sodium can start pulling water, and the citrulline is going to start pushing it. So that's what I wanted to say about that.
And another daily supplement that Jack and I take is creatine. You know, everybody should be taking creatine. It's a great supplement. It's been around forever. Scientifically proven to help pull water into your muscles. This is why you see a lot of people using it, because it has great benefits. So you want to be taking anywhere from 5 to 7 grams of creatine a day. If you're loading, you want to up that to even up to 10 grams of creatine a day.
Make sure you're drinking enough water, because when you have that amount of creatine, the whole point of creatine is similar to sodium, because its job is pulling water. So if you have a high creatine intake, but your water is a little too low, you're going to start pulling water where you don't want water to be pulled. basically saying if you take high amount of creatine and don't drink enough water, your stomach's gonna feel like shit. You're gonna be on the toilet most of the day. A big thing too with creatine, I know a lot of people don't like creatine because they think like it's not natural, which makes no sense because creatine's in a lot of like foods, mostly like red meats, like steak. Steak usually like a 6-ounce steak has about 2-3 grams of creatine in it. So you might be taking creatine and not even know. Another thing I want to say, a big thing with creatine is it's one of, if not the most researched supplement ever. There's no bad like side effects of creatine. The only thing, like I said before, is if you don't drink enough water. If you drink enough water, you're fine. Your muscles are definitely going to grow. You're going to start pushing more water through your veins, and that's really that. Because creatine's great. Like athletes take it, bodybuilders take it, just normal lifters I think should take it. I'm a big fan of creatine.
And also your strength output will definitely skyrocket. You'll notice that within the first few weeks of just taking that, you'll notice the difference in the gym.
And that's all really focused on all that extra water being pushed through.
All right, next we have thermogenics.
Thermogenics are basically fat burners. The whole point of a thermogenic is to increase your body temperature and in turn makes your heart rate higher, so you're pumping a lot more blood. So definitely be careful with taking thermos because they do have a good amount of caffeine in them. So as long as you don't abuse it, thermogenics are definitely great for fat burning. My last show I took a thermo and it dropped my body fat. It helped drop my body fat down to under 2%. I was at like 1.7 at one point. So definitely thermogenics would be a great supplement to try if you're trying to shred some fat and bring out those veins. Because that's a big thing with veins, you need a low body fat. If you don't have a low body fat, then your veins are just gonna be covered up all the time. That's why you'll see people that are like bulking, they lose their definition, their veins start going away. That's all that is because of the body fat. So the body fat to the lean muscle ratio. The higher your muscle mass and the lower your body fat, the more your vascularity is gonna pop out.
And that's just like one of the most important things to see in your vascularity. You know, if you're sitting around 15 to 16% body fat, and you'll notice a huge difference in your vascularity if you go from like 15 to 16% body fat down to single digits. Moving on to our next point here is genetics. You know, me and Jack, we definitely have different genetics in terms of vascularity. Jack, he kind of just, spider webs all around.
My veins really just do whatever they want. I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but most people, like Ryan and a lot of people I know that with, have that one vein that just goes straight down, that big vein. I don't have that. I have
Google roadmaps.
I have like 3 circles, just like right next to each other.
We'll just kind of throw up a picture right here to show our arm genetics that we have for our veins. And another point too is people hold fat differently. So some people, they may hold more fat in their forearms, which leads to their forearms not being as, vascular. People hold more fat in their stomach. I know that's where I hold a lot of my fat. So getting ab veins, that's really hard for me. And one place that I've noticed to where I don't hold that much fat would be my shoulders. No matter what body fat, even if I go up in body fat a little bit, I'll always have shoulder veins for whatever reason. And yeah, people are just gonna be more vascular in different places just based on their genetics. So okay.
I think that's all we got right here. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you learned something. Definitely go follow us on Instagram. They're gonna be down in the description below. Subscribe, leave a like, let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time. Deuces.
Peace.